Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to the last lap. In today's video we're going to be breaking down everything that happened from Sonoma this past weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series Race. Daniel Suarez did end up getting the win, so we're going to talk about how he did it and everything else that happened throughout the race weekend. But before we hop into it, I just want to remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it if you did so. Sorry about that, guys. We're recording this video late at night after the race, but we did want to get it out there for you all. But let's go ahead and hop into the video. As always, I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show. And Matthew, what did you think about the race at Sonoma?
Well, I thought the race itself was just average in my opinion, but we'll get into that in a little bit. It was an amazing weekend up Sonoma, and it's can't wait to get to. I don't know why I can't speak English tonight. Can't wait to dive into this weekend, basically.
Yeah, you and I both struggling with the words is a little late, but we do want to get this video recorded for you all. We've been slacking a little bit, so we want to get back on schedule for you guys. But let's go ahead and hop into the race recap. I have it all written down right here, everything that happened. So unfortunately, early in this race, Bubba Wallace ended up blowing an engine. Another tough break for that team, whether it's a mechanical failure, a pit crew issue, pit stops, unfortunate wrecks. You could pretty much name it, and it's gone wrong for Bubba Wallace this season. So an unfortunate ending to their day pretty early on. Road course races, you're always going to have that pit strategy before the stage ends. And in stage one, pretty much everyone pitted besides Kyle Larson, who was the leader at the time. So he would go on to win the stage. Everybody else pretty much pitted. Kyle Larson did fall back to 26th or something like that, and from then on he never ended up getting back up to the lead. I don't even think he got back up to the top 5. I think he got up to 10th or 8th at one point, but he never ended up getting back to the lead. So they tried to do the same strategy they did last year that won them the race. They won both stages and the race somehow. That was not the case this time. Interesting fact that our buddy Jeff Gluck tweeted is that there were 10 different teams in the top 10 in stage 1, including teams like Colleague Racing, JTG Doherty Racing, the Wood Brothers, Spire, and even everybody's favorite team, Rick Ware Racing. They got a car in the top 10 in stage 1. So huge congratulations to them on getting a car in the top 10. You know, most of that is due to pit strategy, but, you know, had to shout out the Rick Ware Racing fam. Any fans out there, congratulations. Your team got a top 10 in the stage. But anyways, just had to throw that out there. In stage 2, pretty clean stage. Not much happened, except near the end of the stage when, once again, the pit cycle started, and everybody, for the most part, this time pitted before the caution came out so they could regain that track position. Chase Elliott and Chris Buescher were the two at the front, who were pretty much the two at the front behind Kyle Larson in stage 1. They both pitted, and they both had trouble on pit road, except Chris Buescher's penalty got waived somehow, because I think it was something with the gas can being thrown over the wall or something, and they decided to lift that penalty. I don't really know the firm rule on it, and I didn't really see where they did anything wrong. Chris Buescher's crew, so I guess that's fine. But Chase Elliott, unfortunately, when he left his pit box, they told him to stop because they didn't get the lug nut on all the way. So he backed up, they tightened the lug nut, so all 4 of his tires were inside the pit box, but the nose was over the line, which means they quote-unquote pitted outside of the box, and he had to start the end of the field, starting stage 3, so that pretty much ruined his chance at winning, and he probably had a top 3 car today, so that was a bit unfortunate for me as a Chase Elliott fan, but it is what it is. Stuff like this happens. We'll get it next week, but I'll live, especially with the outcome of the race today with Daniel Suarez winning. I can't be too mad at it, but anyways, Joey Logano would end up winning stage 2. He did stay out, so he would have to pit. At this point, Daniel Suarez and Chris Buescher were the top of the field after the stage 3 started, mainly after, the Chase Elliott thing and Kyle Larson falling back. Those two were up there for most of stage 1 and stage 2, and they fell off. And then Suarez and Buescher kind of slowly made their way up. Chris Buescher was in the top three pretty much all day, it seemed like. And then Daniel Suarez slowly made his way up to the top five and eventually the lead. And then in stage three, another loose wheel bit the dust. This time it was Kyle Larson. He ended up losing a wheel right after he left pit road, and that brought out a caution, and obviously that'll result in a 4-race suspension. I believe it's 4 races for the crew chief, the tire changer, and the jackman, unfortunately, so that was tough to see. And then from there on, I believe it went green. It was like a 30-something lap run to the finish. Tires were wearing. The cars were getting harder to drive. Daniel Suarez and Chris Buescher were still first and second at this point in the race, and they checked out from third place. I believe it was Michael McDowell at the time, who still finished third, I think. But those two checked out. Chris Buescher was like half a second to a second behind Suarez most of the time, but just couldn't quite find an opening to pass him. Kyle Busch ended up unfortunately spinning in stage 3 as well. He just drove it in there too deep, locked up the wheels, and the car spun out. It's a tough break for your driver and my driver today, unfortunately. But besides that, stage 3 was pretty calm. Daniel Suarez pulled away in the final 5 or 10 laps. He pulled away to about a 2-second lead, and then by the final lap, it was like 3, 4, 5 seconds. So Chris Buescher's car must have really fell off. But Daniel Suarez, the Mexican, ended up getting his first career NASCAR Cup Series win today. So huge congratulations to him and that whole Trackhouse team for getting the win today. It took him 195 starts for 4 different race teams. So huge congratulations to him. I know when he first came into the series, he was kind of forced into the Cup Series because Carl Edwards just dropped out of nowhere, and they were looking for somebody to replace that 19 car, so they brought up Daniel Suarez, and then like right after winning an Xfinity Championship too, I believe. So Daniel Suarez, kind of rushed into the Cup Series, struggled at JGR for a long time, finally got this opportunity with Trackhouse Racing, and this is his second year with them. He saw Ross Chastain get 2 wins with that team earlier in the year, so I'm sure that was on their minds. So very glad to see Daniel Suarez get his first career win, and with this team at Trackhouse Racing, who just seems to be thriving right now, which is great to see. You love to see a team like this rising up to the occasion, a newer team, second-year team. So huge congratulations to them. I'm going to go over the top 10, and I'll give my brief reactions to this race, and then I'll turn it over to Matthew. So the top 10, Daniel Suarez ended up getting the win. Chris Buescher finished second. Great run for him. He was up there pretty much all day long. I don't know if he ever dropped out of the top 5 besides pit strategy, so great run for him. And Michael McDowell, who finished third. Great run for him. Kevin Harvick 4th. Austin Cindric 5th. Ryan Blaney 6th. So a stretch of 5 fours right there. And then Ross Chastain and Chase Elliott finished 7th and 8th, along with William Byron in 9th. And Brad Keselowski gets a top 10, his first one since the Daytona 500. So, good for Brad Keselowski. Still seems like Chris Buescher is doing way better than him this year. And also, speaking of Chris Buescher, this was his first race back after having COVID last week. So, great run for him despite having COVID last week, feeling ill. Great comeback for him to get a second place finish. Honestly, there's not much to say about this race. It was a pretty smooth road course race, not too many cautions. A few drivers spun out on their own, like Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Eric Jones did 2 self-spins today. So besides that, it was a pretty smooth race. It was kind of hard to pass. The tires did wear, though, which is good. You could see the driver struggling with the race cars. I am glad that they brought the old Sonoma configuration back. Instead of going to the carousel, they did the chute, quote unquote. But yeah, besides that, great race, I would say. So Matthew, go ahead and tell everybody what your reaction to this race at Sonoma.
Well, before I get to the actual race itself, I want to talk about those top 3 that you just said. Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher, and Michael McDowell. Wait, Michael McDowell finished third, right? That has to be the weirdest top 3 I have seen in a long time, to be honest. And, that's just amazing to see. Especially with this new car, supposed to bring in the parity. I know it's a road course, and a lot of times, even with the older cars, people who are really good on road courses will still be good. But I feel like with the next gen car, that helps their chances even better, especially for like a guy like Michael McDowell in a front row car, who those cars are really only good for the super speedways. And recently, that team's been really good. Like they were up leading laps at Gateway, and they were running the top five pretty much the whole race at Sonoma, which is crazy to see. And how about Chris Buescher? A couple weeks ago, he was upside down. The next weekend, he didn't even race because of COVID. And then he comes back in this car, and he's running like second almost the whole race. So that is amazing for that team. I hope they continue that momentum. I don't want this to be like a one race thing for them. I hope they continue that momentum on for trying to get in the playoffs. And now let's talk about Daniel Suarez. As I right here, I got this signed by him a few years ago when he was a rookie. Actually, Joe Gibbs. I think Jimmy and I actually met him at Richmond during a Toyota appearance, so I got that signed. Daniel Suarez has had an interesting career so far. He won the Xfinity Series championship in 2016, and then the next year, and then like literally a couple months later, he's unexpectedly in a Cup Series ride because of Carl Everett's retirement. And all of a sudden, Daniel Suarez has a lot of these expectations because he's in a JGR car, a rookie. Now he's expected to perform just as well as he did in the Xfinity Series. And those 2 years did not really go so well. His best race was really just a second place finish at Pocono 2018, in which Kyle Busch won that one. And then after like not so good 2 seasons, he basically got let go. And next you know, the next best team, Stewart Haas Racing, picks him up in the 41 car, which Kurt Busch was able to win races in that 41 car. And now people are like, okay, maybe he goes to another team. Maybe he'll start getting something going here. He only lasted 1 season there, and he didn't make the playoffs that year either. And now people are like, man, is this guy a bust? Where's he going to go? He goes to the 96 car in 2020, the Gaunt Brothers Racing car, which I don't know if they even still race today. I don't think so, but it was a very, very low down bad team, basically. And he didn't even make the Daytona 500 that year, but he was able to make every other year because that team was basically a no charter team. And people are like, man, is this guy's career basically over? I mean, is he a bust? People were legit calling him a bust after that. Then the next you know, Justin Marks and Trackhouse was created, and they put Daniel Suarez in that car. And there were some question marks going, is this the right choice? And then one race came up that showed him, yes, this was the right choice, and that was Bristol Dirt last year, in which he brought that 99 car, which only have ran a few races at that time, was able to get out to the lead for a little bit, and was able to get a top 5 out of that car. And that was basically the turning point for that team. And then they bring Ross Chastain in this year. And Ross Chastain has already had a lot of success with 2 wins. It was only a matter of time until Daniel Suarez was able to get in victory lane. And Daniel Suarez has shown a lot of speed this year, but the points don't really show that because he's had so much bad luck with wrecks, with pit road stuff, etc. Now Daniel Suarez is finally a Cup Series winner. The 5th Cup Series driver that's not born in the United States to win a Cup race, and the 1st driver that was born in Mexico to win a Cup race. So this is big for him. This is big for NASCAR as a whole, especially for internationally. And I cannot wait to see how Daniel Suarez does the rest of the year. Now he finally got that win, and now both Trackhouse cars are in the playoffs, which I can't believe. I did not think both Trackhouse cars would be in the playoffs if we're at the beginning of this season. I could have said Ross Chastain, but not Daniel Suarez. And both of them are in. So this season has been amazing. Now we got 12 different winners now. those playoffs are getting extremely small, especially with how many people can win. And we still got guys like Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick, who I think will win, and Kevin Harvick. It's that playoff race is getting even tighter now, especially with Daniel Suarez winning. Heck, I won't be surprised if Chris Buescher even wins now, especially how he ran today. But overall, this race was kind of average in my opinion. It proved to be really hard to pass, and nothing really much happened. To be honest, but it was just an average race in my opinion. Which I don't know the reason why. I mean, I heard dirty air was the problem, but it didn't seem like Circuit Americas had that problem. So maybe it's just a Sonoma thing. I'm not really sure, but Circuit Americas was a better race than Sonoma this year, in my opinion. But yeah, what an amazing day for Trackhouse, amazing day for Daniel Suarez. I'm so happy to see this guy win because I've been a big fan of his since he came to the Truck or Xfinity Series driving for Joe Gibbs. And I'm happy he's finally getting the success that he deserves because he is an Xfinity champion for a reason.
Yeah, it was a very average road course race, but I'm still glad. I still love road course racing. It's cool to see the next gen car go to a road course. I mean, they went to Coda before, but they've been going to Sonoma for so long, so it's cool to see the next gen car act on that track, even though it wasn't the best race today. Something else I want to say really quick is, a lot of the big names struggled today. Yeah, obviously you had Kyle Larson who won stage one, and then they tried to do that for pit strategy and ended up falling back in the pack, and then lost a wheel, and then they couldn't make their way back up to the field. Chase Elliott had a pit issue as well. The Toyotas, they struggled today. They tried to do different pit strategies, and they couldn't really get up to the front. So a lot of the big names struggled today, and then like you said,
none of the Toyotas were even in the top 15. That's how terrible the Toyotas were today, which was an absolute embarrassment because Kyle Busch, in my opinion, he's an underrated road course racer. He was nowhere near to be found except for when he got spun out for some reason. Christopher Bell, who is amazing on road courses, he was nowhere near to be found. Martin Truex Jr., who is the only repeat winner at Sonoma in the past decade, he was nowhere near to be found. And Denny, all the Toyotas were terrible today. I have no idea why. I have no idea how. And that's just disappointing considering that Toyota was finally getting their stuff going, especially with 2311 finally catching up with them as well, with Kurt Busch winning and Bubba Wallace looking real good at Charlotte until that big wreck happened. And now basically it's a setback again for Toyota basically.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a road course thing because they weren't super strong at Coda either. Maybe they just need to figure out their road course program. But yeah, the best Toyota finished 17th, and that was Kurt Busch. And then the best JGR car was Kyle Busch, and he was 21st or 22nd, something like that. So yeah, Toyotas, they need to go back to the lab, do some research for the road courses. But these not no-name drivers, but the not big names, they stepped up to the occasion today. The Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher, Michael McDowell, great runs for them today. There's something else I feel like... Oh, yeah, I want to talk about the playoffs because the playoff grid is getting smaller. 16 winners is a likely possibility, but we also have to talk about the cut line and all of that stuff. So the points haven't updated just yet, but drivers like Eric Almirola are close to the cut line. Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick was below the cut line before today. Tyler Reddick is below the cut line. Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, all these drivers going to be fighting for those final few spots, and we might get a few winners outside that top 16 to bump some more of these drivers out. So we'll have to get a fresh look at the playoffs. Maybe in our next video we'll look at all of that. But let's go ahead and rate this race, and then we'll get out of here. So for me, I think I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I feel like that's a little bit generous because a 5 is, an average race. So I'll go a 6 out of 10. Not too much happened today. The fact that Daniel Suarez did end up winning this race is bringing it up just a little bit. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Matthew, what are you going to rate the race at Sonoma?
Well, I did think the race was average, so I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. Nothing much really happened other than Suarez pretty much winning, and that made things better. That made that race better in my opinion. But yeah, it was average.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say what happened when he won. They got a pinata out there. They got a taco pinata, and he like punched a hole in it. So I was like, that needs to be his thing when he wins races. You know, Ross Chastain can smash watermelons. Daniel Suarez can smash pinatas. You know, I think that's a thing that they should do and continue to do throughout their career. But anyways, I thought that was pretty funny. As we transition into our fantasy points for this week, you got 150 points, and I got 168 points. I had Kurt Busch in my lineup, and he did not do too well at all. I had AJ Allmendinger in my lineup, who also didn't do too well today. He lost his power steering, so he was struggling throughout most of the race fighting with that. I think he still finished in the top 15 or top 20, I think. But yeah, it was quite unfortunate. But yeah, you got 150, I got 168. The total points, you have 2,836. I have 2,876. So I have a 40-point gap as we head into the off week. Actually, we're off next week, and then we'll be back at Nashville the following weekend. So Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this episode up?
Well, as horrible as Toyota ran today, I'm glad Kyle Busch won the truck race this weekend, because that was the only good thing that happened for Toyota this weekend, apparently. So that was the only bright spot. That Yahoo truck looked nice, and maybe that's Kyle's new sponsor next year. As a hint, maybe.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that on this channel yet, actually. We should probably talk about that soon, talk about, what Kyle Busch's next sponsor would be, what his future situation is. So maybe we'll talk about that in our next episode. Maybe we'll go over some playoff stuff as well. We have an off week, so we have some stuff to think about. We'll brainstorm something, maybe throw out another video over the off week. But we do appreciate you guys watching this video. We hope you all enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of the race and Daniel Suarez getting his first career win. Make sure you guys stay tuned to our channel. Hit that notification bell to get notified when we upload a new video. But until the next one, we'll see you guys next time.